Imagine a mind so vast, so impossibly sharp, that it can see every atom in the universe at once. Not just see, but know. Every position, every force, every secret movement of every particle. From the dust under your bed to the stars burning in galaxies you'll never visit. This mind doesn't just watch the world. It calculates. It takes the entire present, and from that, it can write the future and the past with perfect, terrifying precision. Nothing escapes it. Not your next breath, not the moment you'll fall asleep, not even the fact that you're listening to this right now. If you like ideas that make your brain feel like it's been turned inside out, you might want to subscribe. There's a lot more where this came from. Now, let's go back. The year is 1814. Pierre-Simon Laplace sits by candlelight, scribbling in the margins of his book, a philosophical essay on probabilities. He's about to drop a thought so heavy, it still bends minds 2 centuries later. Laplace imagines a demon, a hypothetical intellect so powerful, it knows the position and momentum of every atom in the universe. For this demon, the entire story of reality is an open book. If it knows the present, it can read the past and the future, line by line, with no surprises, no mysteries, no freedom. This is determinism, in its purest, most unsettling form. If the universe really works this way, then every thought you have, every choice you make, was already written into the fabric of the cosmos before you were born. Even your belief in free will, your sense that you could have chosen differently, was just another domino, set up and knocked down by the laws of physics. It's like using a GPS that always recalculates your route, but never tells you if you're the one choosing the turns, or if the map was always going to lead you here. You feel like you're steering, but maybe the road was already drawn, and you're just following the line. Laplace's demon isn't just a thought experiment. It's a mirror, held up to your sense of self. If everything is inevitable, then so is this moment, your ears, this voice, this idea worming its way into your mind. The beauty is almost cruel, a universe where nothing is wasted, but nothing is free. And if that makes you uneasy, good. That's the point. Because if the demon is right, even your discomfort was always part of the plan. The illusion of free will. You decide to move your hand, or at least you think you do. You feel the urge, the intention, the little spark of will. But here's the twist. Your brain already started the process, 350 milliseconds before you even noticed. In 1983, Benjamin Libet wired up volunteers and watched their brains. He found a signal, the readiness potential, firing before people reported any conscious decision. The action had already begun. The train was rolling out of the station, and only after it left did you realize you were on board. You didn't buy the ticket. You just woke up in your seat, convinced you chose the journey. It's like reaching for a cookie, only to discover your hand was already halfway there. The story you tell yourself about choosing, that's the after party. The real decision happened backstage, in the dark, before you even got the invitation. Libet's experiment didn't just poke a hole in our sense of agency. It ripped up the floorboards. If your brain acts before you do, who's really in charge? The self you trust to steer your life might just be a passenger, watching the scenery, inventing reasons for a trip that started without you. And if you're not the driver, what does that make you? The ground shifts. The story of you, suddenly, is a little less yours. Eternal recurrence. You're lying in bed, staring at the ceiling, when a strange thought creeps in. What if, after you die, you wake up right here, same bed, same ceiling, same life, forced to live every moment again, exactly as it happened before. Not just once, but forever. Every awkward conversation, every heartbreak, every tiny joy on an endless loop. Would you do anything differently, knowing you'd have to watch it all play out again and again? Friedrich Nietzsche, in 1882, wrote about this in a book called The Gay Science. He called it the eternal recurrence. The idea is simple, but it lands like a punch. Every event in your life, every choice, every accident will repeat infinitely. There's no escape, no edits, no skipping the boring parts. The universe is a film reel, and you're both the actor and the audience, watching yourself stumble through the same scenes, forever. It's a bit like rewatching a movie you've seen 100 times. At first, you notice new details, but after a while, you start to feel trapped. You know every line, every twist. Imagine if you couldn't even fast forward through the parts you hate. You're stuck, watching yourself make the same mistakes, say the same things, feel the same regrets. The plot never changes, no matter how much you wish it would. Now, think about your daily routine, the way you brush your teeth, the route you take to work, the arguments you replay in your head. If you had to relive every one of those moments, would you savor them more or dread them? Would you try to change how you act, or would you resign yourself to the script? Nietzsche's eternal recurrence isn't just a thought experiment, it's a challenge. If you knew you'd have to live this life again, would you choose it? Or would you do everything you could to make it worth repeating? The weight of that question can feel crushing. Suddenly, every choice matters. Every second is heavy with meaning, or with dread. There's a kind of vertigo in imagining your life as an endless loop. The comfort of second chances disappears. The idea that you can fix things next time, or that mistakes will fade, is gone. You're left with the raw reality of your own story, played back on repeat, with no edits allowed. Nietzsche wanted to shake people awake. He wanted you to feel the pressure of eternity, pressing down on every moment. If you had to watch yourself live this life forever, would you be proud of the story? Or would you want to look away? And here's the twist. Even if eternal recurrence isn't real, the question lingers. What if you lived as if it were? Would you change anything, or would you just keep pressing play? The simulation hypothesis. You blink, and for a split second, you wonder if the world just flickered. The chair beneath you, the memory of breakfast, the sound of your own name. What if all of it is just lines of code, running on some cosmic server? In 2003, Nick Bostrom sat down and did the math. If any civilization, anywhere, ever gets good enough at simulating worlds, then there will be billions of simulated minds for every one real one. Statistically, it's more likely you're one of the copies than the original. Think about a diary you wrote as a kid, locked away in a language you can't remember. You trust the words are yours, but you can't read them. Your memories feel private, but if you're simulated, they could be rewritten at any moment. Yesterday's secrets, today's new script. The rules of the game, the people you love, even the ache in your knee. None of it guaranteed to be real, or even consistent. If Bostrom is right, meaning, value, and reality itself become slippery. You could be a story, paused and edited, then resumed. The unsettling part isn't that you might be fake, it's that you'd never know the difference. The problem of other minds. You wake up and the world is silent. Not the kind of silence that comes from a quiet room, but a deeper, stranger hush. The kind where you start to wonder if anyone else is really there at all. You hear voices, you see faces, but something in the air feels off, like you're the only one awake in a house full of sleepwalkers. This is the problem of other minds. It's the unsettling idea that, no matter how much you talk, laugh, or cry with someone, you can never actually know if they are conscious the way you are. You know your own mind is real, your thoughts, your aches, your secret worries. But everyone else? All you have is their behavior, their words, their smiles. And those could be just echoes, clever imitations, or even something emptier. Philosophers call this solipsism. It's the view that only your own mind is certain to exist. Everything else, the people you love, the strangers on the street, even the voice in this recording, could be nothing more than shadows flickering on the wall of your mind. The evidence for other minds is always filtered through your own experience. You see someone wince in pain, but you don't feel their pain. You hear someone laugh, but you don't taste the joke in their mouth. You can't step into their head, no matter how close you get. And here's the twist. You can't disprove solipsism. There's no experiment, no clever argument, no late-night conversation that can break through the wall between your mind and everyone else's. Every bit of evidence you gather, every text message, every hug, every argument, comes to you as a private experience. It's like trying to prove there's a world outside your window by looking at your own reflection in the glass. Think about it like this. Imagine you have a friend who always agrees with you. Every time you share an opinion, they nod. Every time you tell a story, they laugh at the right moment. At first, it feels comforting, but after a while, you start to wonder, are they really listening, or just echoing you back to yourself? Are they a person, or just a mirror with a friendly face? Or maybe it's more like talking to someone through a closed bathroom door. You hear their voice, but you can't see their face. You can't tell if they're rolling their eyes, or if they're even paying attention. You're left guessing, filling in the gaps with your own imagination. That's what it's like, every day, with every person you meet. You're always on the outside, knocking, hoping someone is home. The weirdest part is how normal this feels. We go through life surrounded by people, family, friends, strangers on the train, and we act as if their minds are as real as ours. We trust, we love, we get angry. But underneath it all, there's this quiet, unspoken uncertainty. What if everyone else is just a very convincing act? What if you're the only one who feels anything at all? Some philosophers have tried to escape this loneliness by pointing to empathy, or language, or the way we flinch when we see someone stub their toe. But all of that is still just behavior. It's still just patterns you observe, not proof of a mind behind the mask. The gap never closes. The silence never quite lifts. And yet, we keep reaching out. We keep telling stories, making jokes, holding hands. Maybe that's all we can do. Act as if other minds are real, even if we can never be sure. Maybe the act of believing is what makes the world feel less empty. But tonight, as you lie in the dark, let yourself feel the strangeness of it. The eerie possibility that you are the only mind in a world of shadows. That every voice you hear, every face you see, might be nothing more than a dream you're having alone. And if that thought lingers, if it makes the silence feel a little heavier, remember, the next chapter will only get stranger. The Ship of Theseus. Open your hand. Every cell, every atom in your skin, none of them are the same ones you had 7 years ago. You are a walking paradox, and you don't even notice it. The ancient Greeks told a story about a ship, the Ship of Theseus. Over time, every plank, every nail, every sail was replaced. Not a single original piece remained. But the ship still sailed under the same name. Was it still the Ship of Theseus, or something entirely new? Now, think about your own life. Imagine a favorite recipe, let's say your grandmother's soup. One day, you swap out the carrots for parsnips. Next time, you use a different broth. Eventually, every ingredient is replaced, but you still call it grandma's soup. Is it really the same dish, or just a memory wearing a familiar name? Your body is like that soup. Your memories, your habits, your laugh, they feel continuous. but the parts keep changing. Are you the same person you were as a child, or just a story that keeps rewriting itself? The Ship of Theseus isn't just a riddle about old boats. It's a question that sneaks into your bathroom mirror every morning. If everything changes, what, if anything, stays the same? The Teletransportation Paradox. You stand barefoot on a cold metal floor, heart thumping, as the teleporter doors slide shut. There's a hum, a flicker, and then nothing. A moment later, you open your eyes on Mars. The red dust, the thin air, the impossible horizon. You remember your childhood, your favorite song, the scar on your knee. It all feels like you. But then you learn the truth. Your original body, the one that stepped into the machine, was destroyed. What stands here now is a perfect copy, built atom by atom from a blueprint. Every cell, every memory, every secret. But is it still you? Derek Parfit, in his 1984 book Reasons and Persons, took this thought experiment and twisted it like a knife. If a teleporter can make a flawless copy, and the original is gone, what exactly survived the trip? Is the person on Mars the same as the one who left Earth, or just a convincing imitation? It's like trying to solve a jigsaw puzzle, only to find the pieces change shape every time you touch them. You think you've got the picture, but the edges blur and the colors shift. The more you try to pin down what makes you, you, the slipperier it gets. Think about your favorite mug. Maybe it's chipped, maybe the handle is cracked, but it's yours. Now, imagine replacing the handle, then the rim, then the base. Piece by piece, every part is swapped out for an identical one. At what point does it stop being your mug? Or is it always your mug, as long as you believe it is? Now, imagine the mug is you. Every atom replaced, every memory copied. Is the result still you, or just a story you tell yourself? Parfit's teleporter isn't just science fiction. It's a mirror held up to the way we think about identity. We like to believe there's a thread running through our lives, something unbreakable that makes us who we are. But if a machine can copy you perfectly, down to the last thought, what's left of that thread? Is it the pattern, or the substance, the story, or the storyteller? Some people say the copy is just as real as the original. Others feel a chill, a sense that something vital has been lost. The paradox is that both answers feel true, and neither is comfortable. If you step into the teleporter, are you stepping into the future, or into oblivion? The Ship of Theseus asked this question with planks and nails. Parfit asks it with flesh and memory. And suddenly, the line between survival and replacement, between self and stranger, is as thin as a single heartbeat. If you could teleport to Mars tonight, would you trust the machine? Or would you hesitate, wondering if the person who steps out on the other side is just a puzzle with your face? And if you're still listening, maybe you're already halfway through the door. The Uncertainty Principle. You reach for your keys in the dark, and for a split second, you're not sure if your hand is moving toward the keys, or if the keys are moving toward your hand. That's the feeling at the heart of quantum physics, a world where certainty slips through your fingers the moment you try to grab it. In 1927, Werner Heisenberg wrote down something that should have been impossible. He showed that there are pairs of things, like where a particle is and how fast it's moving, that you can never know at the same time. The more clearly you see one, the blurrier the other becomes. It's not a problem with your tools. It's built into the fabric of reality itself. It's like chasing your own shadow around the kitchen. Every time you think you've pinned it down, it shifts, just out of reach. You start to wonder if the shadow is following you, or if you're following the shadow. In the quantum world, the act of looking changes what you see. Until you observe, reality is a cloud of possibilities. Nothing is settled. Nothing is real in the way you expect. So when you open your eyes, the universe snaps into place. But only for you, only for that moment. The rest remains a blur, waiting for someone else to look. And you can't help but wonder if reality needs you to see it. What else is hiding in the dark? The Anthropic Principle. Close your eyes for a second and try to picture a universe where no one is there to wonder why it exists. No eyes to see the stars, no minds to ask questions, just endless space, silent and unobserved. It's a strange thought, isn't it? Because here you are, listening, thinking, alive, in a universe that seems almost suspiciously well suited for life like yours. The air is just the right mix to breathe. Water flows in liquid form. The sun burns at a temperature that won't fry you or freeze you. The laws of physics are balanced on a knife's edge. If gravity were a little stronger, stars would collapse too quickly. If it were weaker, they'd never form at all. The odds feel impossible. It's like walking into a hotel room and finding the bed made exactly the way you like it, your favorite song playing, and your name written on the mirror in steam. It feels personal. It feels designed. But here's the twist: the Anthropic Principle. It's a mouthful, but the idea is simple and a little bit unsettling. The universe looks perfectly tuned for life, but maybe that's just because you're here to notice it. If the universe weren't this way, you wouldn't be around to ask questions about it. It's not that the universe was made for you. It's that you can only exist in a universe that allows you to exist. Every other kind of universe, the ones with no stars, or with gravity so strong that everything collapses instantly, or with no chemistry at all, those universes are empty. No one is there to complain about how boring they are. It's like opening your fridge and finding only the food you're not allergic to. You might think, wow, this fridge was made just for me. But really, if it had been full of peanuts and shellfish, you wouldn't have survived long enough to notice. The universe is the fridge, and you're the one left standing, so of course it looks like it fits you. This is where things get a little weird. The Anthropic Principle isn't really an explanation. It's a tautology, a statement that's true by definition. The universe appears fine-tuned for life, because only in a universe that allows life can there be anyone to notice. It's like asking why you always find your lost keys in the last place you look. Of course you do. You stop looking once you find them. Some people find this comforting. Others find it deeply unsatisfying, almost like a cosmic shrug. It dodges the question of why the universe is this way at all. Maybe there are countless universes, most of them empty, and you just happen to be in the one that works. Or maybe there's something stranger going on, something you're not equipped to see. But tonight, as you lie in bed, think about this. The universe doesn't have to make sense to you. It just has to be the kind of place where someone like you can wonder why it exists. And maybe that's the only answer you'll ever get. The infinite universe. Somewhere, right now, there is another you. Not a metaphor, a real person with your face, your memories, your laugh, except maybe tonight they brushed their teeth with their left hand instead of their right. Or they never met the friend who changed your life. Or they are listening to this, but in a room painted blue instead of white. If the universe is truly infinite, then every possible version of you exists, not just once, but endlessly. There are copies of you who made every choice you ever dreamed of, and every mistake you fear. For every joy you've felt, there is a you who never got that chance. For every horror you've avoided, there is a you who didn't. It's like walking into a library that never ends, and finding shelf after shelf of books, each one telling your story with a single word changed. Some are better, some are worse. Some are nightmares you can't wake from. The strangest part, in this endless repetition, your life is both unique and completely ordinary. You are special, and you are inevitable. Every moment you live is being lived, right now, by someone else who is you, but not quite. If you feel a chill, that's the weight of infinity settling in, and it never really leaves. The selfish gene. Picture something older than any living creature, something that slips through time, silent and invisible, while everything else withers and dies. Not a god, not a ghost, just a tiny coil of code, a gene, quietly outliving every animal, every plant, every person who ever carried it. While you sleep, while you eat, while you fall in love or break down in tears, this gene is busy, copying itself, moving from body to body, generation after generation. It does not care about your dreams or your plans. It is not even aware you exist. But it is the reason you are here at all. In 1976, Richard Dawkins wrote a book called The Selfish Gene. He took the story of evolution, the one about survival of the fittest animals, the struggle of individuals, and flipped it upside down. Dawkins said, "You are not the main character. Your genes are. You are their brief experiment, their temporary home. The real story is not about you, but about the code inside you, using your body as a way to get to the next generation." This is not how we like to think about ourselves. We imagine we are the authors of our own lives, making choices, building meaning, shaping the future. But Dawkins' idea is colder, stranger, and somehow more honest. Genes are the primary unit of selection. They are the ones that get copied, the ones that survive or vanish. You, me, every animal you have ever seen, we are just the vehicles, the disposable carriers, the way genes get from yesterday to tomorrow. It is like realizing you are not the driver of your own car, but the car itself. The real driver is hidden, silent, and does not care if the car is red or blue, happy or sad, as long as it gets to the next stop. You are the vessel, not the captain. Think about your kitchen for a second. Imagine a sourdough starter, bubbling away in a jar. You feed it, you keep it warm, you use it to bake bread. But the starter does not care about your breakfast. It just wants to keep going, to be split and shared, to survive in 1,000 kitchens long after you are gone. Your hands, your recipes, your family traditions, they are just the tools the starter uses to keep itself alive. The gene is like that. It does not care about your story. It just wants to be copied. Dawkins's gene-centered view of evolution is not saying that genes have minds or plans. They do not. But the ones that survive are the ones that are best at getting themselves copied, no matter what that means for the individual carrying them. Sometimes that means being strong or fast. Sometimes it means being clever or kind or even self-sacrificing, if that helps the gene survive in the long run. The gene does not care about the method. It only cares about the result. Survival. This flips the story of purpose on its head. You might think you are here to find happiness, or to help others, or to make the world a better place. But from the gene's point of view, you are here to make sure it gets passed on. Your love, your pain, your art, your wars, these are all just side effects of a deeper, older game. The gene's game. And here's the part that stings. The gene does not care if you win. It does not care if you are happy or if you suffer. It only cares if it survives. If a gene can make you risk your life for your child, it will. If it can make you betray a friend, it will. If it can make you build a city or burn one down, it will. The gene is not good or evil. It is just persistent. You might feel a little hollow hearing this, like you have been demoted from hero to background character. But there is a strange comfort in it, too. You are part of something ancient, something that has been playing this game for billions of years. Every cell in your body is a monument to survival, a record of victories stretching back to the first spark of life. You are the latest chapter in a story that began before the first sunrise. And yet, knowing this, you can choose what to do with your moment. You can see the strings and maybe, just maybe, pull them in a new direction. The gene may be selfish, but you are the one who gets to wonder about it, to question it, to laugh at the absurdity of being a vehicle for something that does not even know you exist. Sometimes, the most unsettling thing is not that you are being used, but that you are finally able to see it. And once you see it, you cannot unsee it. The world is full of quiet drivers, and you are their favorite ride. The veil of ignorance. Imagine you're handed a blank sheet and told, design the rules for a new society. But there's a catch. You have no idea who you'll be when the game begins. You might be rich, or you might be poor. You could be healthy, or you could be sick. You might be the one making the laws, or the one living under them. This is the thought experiment John Rawls set loose in 1971 in his book, A Theory of Justice. He called it the veil of ignorance. Behind this veil, you make decisions about fairness without knowing your own status. No hint about your gender, your race, your talents, or your luck. Suddenly, every rule you write could come back to haunt you or save you. It's like baking a cake for a party, but you don't know which slice you'll get. Would you still pile all the frosting on one piece, or would you spread it out, just in case? Rawls's veil of ignorance flips the whole idea of justice on its head. It asks, would you accept the world as it is if you didn't know where you'd land in it? Most of us wouldn't. And that's the uncomfortable truth hiding in every system we inherit. What would you change if you had to live with any outcome? The open question argument. You're lying in bed, staring at the ceiling, and the word good floats through your mind. Maybe you're thinking about something you did today, or something you wish you hadn't. You try to pin it down. What does it mean for something to be good? Is it pleasure? Is it what makes people happy? Is it what's natural, or what's healthy, or what God wants? But every time you try to answer, the question slips away. Is that really good, or just what you've been told is good? In 1903, a young philosopher named George Edward Moore sat at his desk, writing by the weak light of a London morning. He was working on a book called Principia Ethica, and he was about to ask a question that would make the ground under moral philosophy crack open. Moore wondered, can you ever define good by pointing to something in the world, like pleasure, or evolution, or the laws of nature? Or is there always something left over, something that escapes the definition? Moore's trick is so simple it almost feels like cheating. Take any definition of good. Say, good means pleasurable. Now ask, is everything pleasurable really good? Or, is it good because it's pleasurable, or is it pleasurable because it's good? The question is always open. You can do this with any definition. Good means what God commands. But is what God commands good because God commands it, or does God command it because it's good? The question never closes. It's like trying to trap a shadow in a box. No matter how tightly you shut the lid, the shadow slips out the sides. It's a bit like trying to define home. You can say home is where you sleep, or where your family is, or where you grew up. But you can always ask, is that really home, or just a place you happen to be? The feeling of home is always a step beyond the facts. Moore thought good was like that. No matter how you try to pin it down, it wriggles free. This is the open question argument. It sounds innocent, but it's a grenade tossed into the middle of moral philosophy. If good can't be defined by any natural property, if it's not just pleasure, or health, or survival, then what is it? Moore said it's simple and indefinable, like the color yellow. You know it when you see it, but you can't explain it in other terms. And that means every time someone tries to tell you what's good, you can always ask, is it really? The consequences are quietly disturbing. If good can't be reduced to anything in the world, then moral certainty starts to wobble. Maybe there's no solid ground for right and wrong, just a word we all use, hoping everyone else means the same thing. Moral realism, the idea that goodness is a real feature of the world, starts to look shaky. Maybe good is just a ghost we chase, never quite catching it, always asking the same question: is this really good? And if you think you've finally found the answer, more is still there, waiting, ready to ask the question again. Moral relativism. You wake up in a world where nothing is off limits. Somewhere every act, no matter how cruel, how unthinkable, has been defended as tradition or necessity, or just the way things are done. The line between right and wrong blurs until it vanishes. This is the world of moral relativism. No act is universally wrong. Every horror, every kindness, is just a local custom. In one place, mercy is sacred. In another, vengeance is a duty. What shocks you might be celebrated elsewhere. It's like walking into a stranger's kitchen and finding them eating something you can't even name. You want to recoil, but they smile and offer you a bite. Who are you to judge? If culture can justify anything, then the foundation of moral judgment starts to crack. The rules you thought were solid turn out to be sand, shifting under your feet. The dread creeps in. If nothing is truly wrong everywhere, then what stops anything from happening anywhere? And if every atrocity can be explained away, what's left to call evil? The next chapter asks, what if evil isn't monstrous at all, but ordinary? The banality of evil. A rubber stamp thuds against a stack of papers. The man holding it barely glances at the words. His mind is on lunch, or the weather, or the ache in his back. He stamps, slides the paper aside, and reaches for the next. The room is quiet, except for the steady rhythm of bureaucracy. He does not see the faces behind the forms. He does not hear the trains. In 1963, Hannah Arendt sat in a Jerusalem courtroom, watching Adolf Eichmann on trial for crimes that still echo through history. Eichmann, the architect of the Holocaust's logistics, did not look like a monster. He looked like an accountant. He spoke in cliches. He insisted he was just following orders, just doing his job. Arendt expected to find a villain. Instead, she found a man who seemed almost invisible. A man who had made evil ordinary. Evil, Arendt realized, does not always arrive with horns and a snarl. Sometimes it wears a suit and carries a briefcase. Sometimes it is polite, punctual, and eager to please. The horror is not in the rage or the cruelty, but in the emptiness, the absence of thought, the refusal to imagine the consequences of a simple action repeated 1,000 times. Think about the last time you filled out a form without reading it, or clicked accept on a set of terms you did not understand. Most of us do this every day. We trust the system. We assume someone else is responsible. We do not picture the chain of events that might begin with a single, careless signature. It is like passing a baton in a relay race, but never looking back to see where it goes. Each runner does their part, convinced their role is small, their choice is harmless. But the baton can carry anything, hope or harm, or something much worse. The race does not stop because one person hesitates. It keeps moving, powered by routine. Now, bring it closer. Imagine a family dinner where someone tells a joke that makes you uncomfortable. You do not laugh, but you do not speak up. The moment passes. The table is quiet. You think, it's not my place. The silence is a stamp too. It is a tiny act of permission, so ordinary you barely notice it. But these moments add up. They build the world we live in, one unremarkable choice at a time. Arendt's Eichmann was not a mastermind. He was a man who never stopped to ask, "What am I doing?" He measured his success by efficiency, not by conscience. He did not hate. He did not love. He simply did his job, and the machinery of horror rolled on. This is the banality of evil, the way atrocity can hide inside the routines of daily life, the way a system can turn ordinary people into cogs, each one convinced they are powerless, each one certain they are not to blame. It is not the stuff of nightmares. It is the stuff of Monday mornings, of memos, of meetings that run too long. You might feel a chill hearing this. You should, because it means the line between good and evil is not drawn by heroes and villains. It is drawn by habits, by small decisions, by the willingness to look away. The most terrifying thing about evil is not how rare it is, but how easy it is to miss. History is not made by monsters. It is made by people who do not look up from their desks. The Milgram Experiment. Your finger hovers over a button. On the other side of the wall, a stranger begs you to stop. You hesitate. The man in the white coat nods, tells you to continue. You press the button. The stranger screams. Stanley Milgram, 1961. He wanted to know how far ordinary people would go when told to hurt someone by an authority figure. The setup was simple: a teacher, a learner, and a man in a lab coat. The teacher, just a volunteer, was told to deliver electric shocks for every wrong answer. The shocks weren't real, but the screams were. 65% of people went all the way. They pressed the button marked lethal because someone in charge told them to. Not monsters, not villains. Neighbors, teachers, people who thought they knew right from wrong. It's like finding yourself in a kitchen, holding a knife, and someone you trust says, "Cut." You know it's wrong, but the voice of authority drowns out your own. Your hands move before your conscience can catch up. Milgram's experiment didn't just reveal something about obedience. It showed how easily our sense of right and wrong can be bent by a gentle command. The scariest part? Most of us would press the button too. The Stanford Prison Experiment. You're standing in a basement hallway, the air thick and stale, fluorescent lights buzzing overhead. It's August, 1971, and you're not a prisoner. You're not a guard. You're just a college student at Stanford, here for a psychology study. But within hours, the line between role and reality starts to blur. Philip Zimbardo, the man running the experiment, hands you a uniform. Maybe it's a khaki shirt and mirrored sunglasses. Maybe it's a smock with a number pinned to your chest. You know it's pretend. You know it's just for 2 weeks. But the moment the door slams, something shifts. The guards start barking orders. The prisoners shuffle, eyes down. Laughter turns sharp. The game is over before it begins. By the second day, the guards are inventing punishments. Push-ups, solitary confinement in a tiny closet. Prisoners beg for bathroom breaks. Some guards hesitate, but most go along. It's not that they're monsters. They're just following the script. And the script keeps getting darker. Zimbardo, watching from behind a camera, lets it happen. He's the warden now, not the scientist. Here's the part that should make your skin crawl. It takes less than a week. 6 days. That's all it takes for a group of ordinary students to become their roles so completely that the experiment has to be stopped. One prisoner has a breakdown. Others refuse to eat. The guards, some of them, seem almost disappointed when it ends. It's easy to think you'd be different, that you'd stand up, refuse, walk away. But think about the last time you were in a group project, or a new job, or even a family dinner where everyone slipped into their usual roles. Maybe you found yourself acting colder, or quieter, or more bossy than you meant to. Maybe you laughed at a joke you didn't like just because everyone else did. The Stanford basement is just that, turned up to 11. The walls are closer, the rules are stricter, and the consequences feel real, even when you know they aren't. The Milgram Experiment showed how far people will go when told to obey. Zimbardo's prison shows how fast we become what we pretend to be. The mask sticks, the role seeps in, and the scariest part is how quickly it happens, how little it takes to turn a game into something you can't walk away from. If you think you know yourself, ask, who would you become if everyone else expected it? And how long before you stopped noticing the difference? Conformity and the Asch experiment. You're sitting in a room with 7 strangers. A simple question flashes on the wall. Which line is the longest? The answer is obvious, but one by one, every person before you gives the same, clearly wrong answer. When it's your turn, your heart thumps. You hesitate. Maybe you even say what they said, just to fit in. In 1951, Solomon Asch ran this exact experiment. 3 out of 4 people went along with the group's mistake at least once. Not because they couldn't see, but because the pressure in the room was heavier than the truth in their eyes. It's like being at a dinner table where everyone insists the soup is cold, even as steam curls from your spoon. You start to wonder if you're the one who's lost touch. Social pressure can bend reality, not just for others, but for you. The scariest part? You might not even notice it happening. Somewhere, right now, someone is swallowing their own certainty, just to keep the peace. False memories. You're lying in bed, eyes closed, replaying a memory so vivid you can almost smell the grass, feel the sun on your skin, hear the laughter echoing from a childhood birthday party. You remember the cake, the candles, the way your uncle lifted you onto his shoulders. But then, years later, someone tells you, there was no party like that. No cake, no candles, no uncle with strong arms. And suddenly, the memory that felt more real than yesterday's breakfast dissolves, leaving you with a strange, hollow ache. This isn't just a trick of the mind. In 1995, psychologist Elizabeth Loftus set out to test how easily our memories can be rewritten. She gathered volunteers and, with careful suggestion, planted a story in their minds. As children, they had once been lost in a shopping mall, frightened and alone, until a kind stranger helped them find their parents. The twist? It never happened. Yet, when asked later, a full quarter of the participants, 25%, recalled the event as if it were their own. They described the color of the floor tiles, the sound of the crowd, the feeling of panic. Details that never existed, conjured from nothing but suggestion and imagination. It's unsettling, isn't it? The idea that your most cherished memories, those moments you'd swear on, might be nothing more than stories your brain stitched together. We like to think of memory as a recording, a faithful archive of our lives. But memory is more like a kitchen recipe passed down through generations. Each time you make it, you swap an ingredient, forget a step, add a pinch of something new. Over time, the dish changes, but you still call it by the same name. You trust the taste, even as the original recipe fades away. Think about the last argument you had with someone close. Maybe you remember exactly what was said, the tone, the words that stung. But if you ask the other person, their version is different, sometimes wildly so. It's like 2 people watching the same movie but walking out with different endings. Memory isn't a photograph. It's a story we rewrite every time we tell it, shaped by mood, by suggestion, by the gentle nudge of someone else's recollection. Elizabeth Loftus didn't just show that memories can be planted. She showed that once they take root, they feel as real as anything you've actually lived. In courtrooms, this has terrifying consequences. Eyewitnesses, certain of what they saw, can send innocent people to prison. Families can be torn apart by memories that never happened. The mind it turns out, is a master forger, so skilled that even the forgeries fool the forger. There's a kind of vertigo in realizing this. If memory is this malleable, what anchors you to your own past? How much of your life is a patchwork of half-truths, borrowed stories, and gentle lies you've told yourself to make sense of the chaos? The comfort of certainty slips away, replaced by a quiet suspicion. Maybe the story of you is less solid than you thought. But there's a strange freedom here, too. If memory is a living thing, always changing, then you are not trapped by your past. You are not the sum of fixed, unchangeable moments. You are a story in motion, a recipe that can always be rewritten. Somewhere in your mind, there's a birthday party that never happened. And yet, the laughter still echoes. The memory is yours, even if it's a ghost. And maybe, just maybe, that's what makes being human so beautifully, terrifyingly uncertain. The limits of knowledge. You're lying in bed, staring at the ceiling, and for a moment you wonder, could we ever know everything? Not just most things, but every last secret the universe has to offer. In 1931, a quiet mathematician named Kurt Gödel sat down and proved that dream was impossible. With a few lines of logic, he showed that no matter how clever our rules, no matter how perfect our math, there will always be true statements about numbers that can never be proven true. Not by us, not by any machine, not even in principle. It's like building the world's most perfect jigsaw puzzle, only to discover there are pieces that will never fit, no matter how long you try. You can see the empty space, you know something belongs there, but the rules you've built just can't reach it. Gödel's incompleteness theorems didn't just break mathematics. They cracked open the idea that certainty was even possible. There are questions with answers that will always be out of reach, no matter how hard we look. The universe, it turns out, keeps some secrets for itself. The problem of induction. You wake up. The room is dim. The air is cool. And for a moment, you wonder if the sun will rise. Of course it will, you think. It always has. But what if, just once, it didn't? What if the world quietly broke its own rules? This is the crack in reality that David Hume pressed his finger into back in 1748, hunched over his desk, scribbling by candlelight. In his book, An Enquiry Concerning Human Understanding, Hume asked a question so simple it feels almost childish. How do you know the future will be like the past? You might say, well, it always has been. The sun has risen every day of your life, and for everyone you've ever known. But Hume wasn't satisfied. He noticed something strange. We never actually see cause and effect. We see one thing happen, then another, and our minds stitch them together. The match strikes, the flame appears, the rooster crows, the sky brightens. But the connection, the force that makes one thing lead to another, is invisible. It's a story we tell ourselves, not a law written into the world. Think about your morning coffee. You pour water over grounds and expect a cup of coffee to appear. You don't even question it. But what if, one day, the water turned to sand, or the cup filled with ink? It sounds absurd, but Hume's point is that there's no logical reason it couldn't happen. We expect coffee because we've always gotten coffee, but that's just a habit, not a guarantee. It's like trusting a friend who's always been honest. You believe they'll tell the truth tomorrow, because they always have. But deep down, you know there's no law forcing them. The past is a comfort, not a contract. Hume's skepticism about induction, the idea that we can predict the future based on the past, undermines the very ground we stand on. Science, cooking, even crossing the street. all depend on the assumption that the world will keep behaving as it did yesterday. But Hume showed that this is just a leap of faith, dressed up as reason. Causation, he said, is something we infer, not something we see. We watch the billiard ball roll, strike another, and the second ball moves. But the force, the necessity, is invisible. We can't prove that the same thing will happen next time. Maybe the balls will hover, or vanish, or sing. This isn't just a philosopher's trick. It's a quiet terror, hiding in the background of every routine. The world feels stable, but it's only our expectations holding it together. Every sunrise is a small miracle. Every cup of coffee, a leap into the unknown. So tomorrow, when you wake up and the light spills through your window, remember, you have no logical reason to expect it. Only hope and habit and the fragile comfort of memory. The trolley problem. You're gripping a metal lever. Ahead, a runaway trolley barrels down the tracks. 5 people are tied up, helpless. But there's a side track. 1 person stands alone. If you pull the lever, you save 5, but you kill 1. If you do nothing, the 5 die. The world holds its breath, waiting for your hand. This is the trolley problem. It sounds simple, but the more you think, the stranger it gets. Do you act, or do you stand by? Is it better to be the cause of 1 death, or the passive witness to 5? Every answer feels wrong, like a riddle with no solution. It's the kind of question that splits your mind in 2. The utilitarian in you whispers, save the most lives. The rule follower inside says, don't play God. Both voices are loud. Neither is comfortable. It's like standing in your kitchen, holding a plate that's about to fall. If you grab it, you might break a glass. If you let it drop, you'll lose the plate. No matter what you do, something shatters. And you're the one who has to sweep up the pieces. The trolley problem isn't about finding the right answer. It's about realizing there might not be one. Sometimes, being human means living with the weight of impossible choices. The Chinese room. You are sitting alone in a small, windowless room. The walls are blank. The only thing in front of you is a thick book, a stack of paper, and a slot in the door. Every so often, a slip of paper slides through the slot. It's covered in strange symbols, lines and boxes, nothing you recognize. You have no idea what they mean. But you have instructions. The book tells you, if you see this pattern, copy down that pattern. If you see these 3 symbols, write those 4 in response. You follow the rules, passing your answer back through the slot. Outside, someone who speaks the language reads your reply. To them, it's perfect. They ask a question in Chinese, and the answer that comes back makes sense. They might even think there's a fluent Chinese speaker inside. But you, inside the room, don't understand a single word. You're just shuffling symbols, following instructions, never knowing what any of it means. This is the Chinese room. In 1980, John Searle imagined this thought experiment to challenge the wildest dreams of artificial intelligence. Searle's question was simple. If a computer can manipulate symbols so well that it fools us into thinking it understands, does it actually understand anything at all? Or is it just a room, full of rules, passing notes back and forth, forever locked out of meaning? The idea sounds technical, but it's really about something deeply human. When you talk to a chatbot or ask your phone a question, it feels like there's a mind on the other side. The words come back fast, clever, sometimes even funny. But Searle's Chinese room says, maybe there's no mind at all. Maybe it's just a machine, flipping through a giant instruction book, matching patterns, never knowing what it's saying. Think about it like this. Imagine you're at a party, and you're handed a script in a language you don't speak. Every time someone says something to you, you look up the right response and read it out loud. People laugh, nod, and keep talking. To them, you fit right in. But inside, you're lost. You don't know if you're telling a joke or starting a fight. You're just following the script, hoping it works. That's what Searle says a computer is doing. No matter how good it gets at conversation, it's still just reading from the world's biggest script. Now, let's bring it even closer to home. Think about cooking from a recipe you don't understand. You see the words "fold" in the cheese, but you've never cooked before. You just do what the paper says: fold, stir, bake. The dish comes out looking right, but you have no idea why you did any of it. You don't know what cheese is, or why it matters. You're just following steps. The meal might taste great, but the meaning is missing. That's the difference between doing and understanding. Between a machine that can pass the test and a mind that knows what it's doing. Searle's Chinese room is a challenge to the boldest claims about artificial intelligence. Some people believe that if a computer acts like it understands, then it really does. This is called strong AI, the idea that a machine can have a mind, just like you or me. But Searle says no. A computer can process symbols, follow rules, and spit out answers, but it doesn't know what any of it means. It's all syntax, no semantics. All form, no feeling. This isn't just a puzzle for philosophers. It's a question that cuts to the heart of what it means to be alive. If a machine can fake understanding, how do you know anyone understands anything? How do you know you're not just following scripts too? Maybe we're all in our own rooms, passing notes, hoping someone out there gets the message. The Chinese room doesn't close the case. Some argue that understanding could emerge from the whole system, or that meaning is just a trick of complexity. But the room lingers. It's a reminder that intelligence isn't just about answers, it's about meaning. And meaning, for now, is something no machine can fake. Somewhere, right now, a computer is writing a poem, answering a question, or telling a joke. But inside, it's just a room full of rules, forever silent, forever alone. And maybe, just maybe, that's the loneliest kind of intelligence there is. The Turing Test. You're sitting in a quiet room, typing messages to someone on the other side of a screen. Their replies are quick, clever, maybe even a little funny. But here's the twist. You have no idea if you're talking to a person or a machine. That's the unsettling beauty of Alan Turing's imitation game, dreamed up in 1950. Turing's question wasn't, can machines think? It was, could you tell the difference? The Turing test is simple and ruthless. If a machine can fool you into thinking it's human, even for a moment, does it count as intelligent or conscious? Or something else entirely? Suddenly, the line between person and program blurs. You're left wondering if the words on your screen are coming from a mind or just a clever trick of code. It's like texting with a stranger whose face you'll never see. You trust the words, but the person behind them could be anyone or no one at all. The Turing test doesn't just challenge machines. It challenges us to ask what it really means to be a person. And maybe, just maybe, it makes you wonder who's really on the other end of this conversation. What is it like to be a bat? Close your eyes for a moment. Try to imagine what it would feel like to be a bat. Not just flapping your arms or hanging upside down, but actually being a bat, sensing the world through bursts of sound, living in a universe made of echoes and shadows. You can picture the leathery wings, maybe even the high-pitched squeaks. But what about the inside? What does the world feel like from behind those tiny alien eyes? In 1974, a philosopher named Thomas Nagel sat down and wrote something that still makes people uncomfortable. He asked a question that sounds simple, but is actually a trapdoor. What is it like to be a bat? Not what does a bat do, or how does a bat work, but what is it like from the inside, to be that creature. Nagel's point was sharp and unsettling. You can study every fact about bats, how they fly, how their brains process sound, even how their hearts beat in the dark. You can build machines that mimic their sonar, dissect their tiny skulls, and map every neuron. But no matter how much you learn, you will never know what it is like to be a bat. Not really. There's a wall you can't climb, a gap you can't cross. The bat's world is sealed off, private, unreachable. This is the problem of subjective experience, what philosophers call qualia, the raw feel of being you, the taste of chocolate, the color red, the ache of missing someone. These are things you can't hand to someone else or measure with a ruler. You can describe them, but the description is never the thing itself. It's like trying to explain the taste of salt to someone who's never tasted it. You can talk about molecules and nerves, but the saltiness itself is locked inside your own head. Think about it like this. Imagine you're trying to explain a dream to a friend. You can tell them the story, the images, the feelings, but no matter how vivid your words, they can't actually feel your dream. It's yours alone. The same goes for the bat. Its world is made of echoes, but you can only guess at the shape of those echoes. You can't step inside its mind. Nagel's question isn't just about bats. It's about the limits of science and the limits of understanding. You can know everything about the outside, but the inside is always a mystery. Consciousness is like a locked room, and you're the only one with the key to yours. Everyone else is just guessing at what's inside. And here's the part that stings. If you can't know what it's like to be a bat, you can't really know what it's like to be anyone else either. You can listen, you can empathize, you can imagine, but you're always on the outside, looking in. The world is full of minds, each one sealed off, each one carrying its own private universe. Somewhere out there, a bat is flying through the night, seeing a world you'll never see. And you, sitting here, listening, are just as unreachable. The real mystery isn't out there in the dark. It's right here, behind your own eyes. The hard problem of consciousness. Close your eyes for a second. Notice the color behind your eyelids, the faint hum in your ears, the feeling of your body in the dark. There's a secret here, hiding in plain sight. You are not just a machine processing information. You are aware. The lights are on inside your head. Scientists can map every neuron, trace every signal, and still, no one can explain why it feels like something to be you. Why does a lump of matter, arranged just so, suddenly wake up and start experiencing the world? This is the hard problem of consciousness, the question that makes even the most confident neuroscientist go quiet. You can explain how a brain reacts to light, or how it moves a hand. But why does red look red? Why does pain hurt? Why is there anything it's like to be you, instead of just a silent machine? No one has a clue, not a theory, not a hint. Some say maybe consciousness is just what matter does when it gets complicated enough. Others whisper that it might be something science can never reach, like trying to taste a color. It's like opening up your phone, poking around the circuits, and realizing you can't find the part that makes it feel alive. Maybe there isn't one. Maybe the feeling is the mystery itself. And as you listen, you might wonder, what if the lights could go out, and you'd never even know? The extended mind. You reach for your notebook, flip it open, and there it is. A phone number you haven't thought about in years, written in your own handwriting. For a moment, it feels like the memory was never lost. But here's the strange part. Was that memory really inside your head, or was it living quietly on the page, waiting for you to find it? Andy Clark and David Chalmers, back in 1998, asked a question that still feels like a magic trick. What if your mind doesn't stop at your skull? What if the boundaries of yourself are as thin and shifting as a shadow at dusk? They called it the extended mind hypothesis. The idea is simple, but it scrambles everything you think you know about being you. If you use a notebook to remember, or a calculator to think, or even a friend to help you make a decision, are those things part of your mind, or just tools you use? Let's try something. Think about your phone. Not the glowing screen, but what it does for you. It remembers birthdays, directions, passwords, the names of people you met once at a party. If you lost your phone, how much of your life would vanish with it? For most people, it's not just a tool. It's a prosthetic memory, a second brain you carry in your pocket. The line between what's you and what's not you starts to blur. But this isn't just about gadgets. Imagine your kitchen. You keep the salt in the same place, the mugs on the same shelf. You don't have to remember where they are. Your hands just know. The room itself becomes a kind of memory, a map your body follows without thinking. The world outside your head is woven into the way you think, feel, and remember. The boundaries of your mind leak out into the spaces you live in. Clark and Chalmers argued that if something in the world functions just like a part of your mind, then maybe it is part of your mind. If you always use the same notebook to remember facts, and you trust it as much as your own memory, then the notebook is not just a tool, it's a piece of your thinking. The mind, in this view, is not a sealed box. It's a network, stretching out into the world, tangled up with objects, people, and places. This idea is unsettling because it messes with the story we tell ourselves about who we are. We like to think of the self as a neat little package, zipped up inside our skin. But the extended mind says, you are porous. You leak. Your thoughts spill out into the world, and the world seeps back in. The boundary between self and not self is more like a fog than a wall. It's a bit like realizing your favorite song isn't just the notes, but the echo in the room, the hum of the speakers, the way your foot taps along. The music isn't trapped in the instrument. It's everywhere the sound can reach. In the same way, your mind isn't trapped in your brain. It's everywhere your thoughts can reach. And here's the domestic twist. Think about the way you leave sticky notes for yourself on the fridge. Buy milk. Call mom. The self as illusion. Close your eyes for a second. Imagine you're floating above your own body, looking down at yourself from the ceiling. You can see your hands, your face, the way your chest rises and falls. But the person doing the looking, where are they exactly? In 2003, Thomas Metzinger wrote that the self is not a thing, but a story your brain tells itself. A model, a kind of user interface, like the icons on your phone. Useful, but not real in the way you think. Scientists have even used virtual reality to trigger out-of-body experiences. They put people in headsets, scramble their senses, and suddenly, you feel like you're somewhere else, watching yourself from the outside. The sense of "I am here" can be hacked, moved, even erased. It's like realizing the voice in your head, the one narrating your life, is just a character in a play. The script is convincing, but the actor? There's no one behind the mask. If the self is just a model, then who or what is listening right now? And if you could step outside your own story, would you even recognize yourself at all? Existence precedes essence. You wake up one morning and there's no script, no cosmic checklist taped to your fridge, no secret envelope slipped under your door telling you who you're supposed to be. The world is just there, blank, humming, waiting, and you're in it, blinking, with nothing but your own heartbeat to guide you. This is the world Jean-Paul Sartre stared into in 1943, hunched over a desk in occupied Paris, writing Being and Nothingness, while the city outside was full of fear and uncertainty. Sartre's idea was simple, but it landed like a punch. Existence comes first. You show up, and only then do you decide what you are. There's no blueprint, no hidden label. You are not born with a purpose. You invent it, moment by moment, choice by choice. It sounds freeing at first. No one gets to tell you what you're for. But then the weight of it settles in. If there's no grand design, then every meaning in your life is something you have to build yourself. There's no one to blame if you get it wrong. No cosmic parent to clean up your mess. Sartre called this being condemned to be free. Think about the feeling you get when you walk into a kitchen you've never seen before, hungry, and there's nothing but raw ingredients. No recipe, no instructions, just a pile of things that could become anything or nothing. You can make a feast, or you can burn it all. But whatever you end up eating, it's on you. That's the flavor of Sartre's freedom. Sartre looked at the universe and saw a kind of cosmic silence. No voice booms down to tell you what matters. There's just you and the choices you make. You can't hide behind tradition or biology or fate. You are the author, the actor, and the critic, all at once. Every time you decide, you're not just picking for yourself. You're inventing a little piece of what it means to be human. It's a dizzying kind of responsibility. Some people find it thrilling. Others find it terrifying. Most of us, if we're honest, feel both. Because if you're the one who has to invent your own meaning, then you're also the one who has to live with the emptiness when nothing feels certain. There's no safety net, no guarantee that what you build will last, or even make sense to anyone else. But maybe that's the secret power in Sartre's idea. If the universe is meaningless, then nothing is stopping you from making meaning anyway. You can decide that love matters, or art, or kindness, or rebellion. You can build a life out of whatever you choose, and no one, not even the universe, can say you're wrong. So here you are, in a world without instructions. The burden is heavy, but it's yours. And every day, you get to decide what it means to be you. That's the price, and the wonder of being free. The absurd. Picture your hands pressed against a rough, cold stone. You push, muscles straining, sweat stinging your eyes. The boulder rolls uphill, inch by inch, and just as you reach the top, it slips, tumbling back to where you started. Now, imagine doing this forever. Albert Camus, in 1942, called this the story of Sisyphus. But he saw something strange in the struggle. The universe doesn't care if you reach the summit. The world is silent, indifferent, and your search for meaning echoes back at you with a shrug. But here's the twist Camus found in the myth of Sisyphus. If the universe refuses to give you a purpose, you're free to invent your own. The absurd isn't a prison, it's a blank page. Like standing in a kitchen at midnight, fridge light humming, and realizing no one is coming to tell you what to eat. You can make a feast, or just stare at the empty shelves. The rules are gone. The weight is yours, but so is the freedom. Embracing the absurd means smiling at the boulder, even as it rolls back down. Meaninglessness, Camus says, can be a kind of liberation. The world may not care, but you can. And in that moment, as you grip the stone and start again, you might find a strange, stubborn joy. The second sex. You are 5 years old. Someone leans down, looks you in the eye, and tells you what you are. Maybe it's a parent, a teacher, a stranger in the grocery store. The words are simple, but the world behind them is not. In that moment, a line is drawn, sometimes soft, sometimes sharp, between what you are and what you are not. You are a boy. You are a girl. You are this, not that. And from that moment, the world begins to shape you to fit. Simone de Beauvoir, writing in 1949, saw this moment for what it was. Not a discovery, but a construction. She wrote, "One is not born, but becomes a woman." It sounds almost obvious, until you realize what it means. Gender is not a fact handed down at birth. It is a process, a story, a set of expectations that settle over you like invisible clothes. You do not simply grow into yourself. You are grown by others, by language, by the 1,000 tiny nudges of culture, into something you were told you must be. De Beauvoir's insight was a crack in the wall of certainty. For centuries, people believed that gender was essential, fixed, rooted in biology or fate. A woman was a woman because of her body, her nature, her destiny. But de Beauvoir asked, what if that's backwards? What if the category of woman is not a natural fact, but a role you are trained to play? What if identity is not given, but made? Think about the way a name works. When someone calls you by your name, it feels like a recognition, something that belongs to you. But a name is also a label, a way for others to summon you, to place you, to decide what you are allowed to do. It's like being handed a script before you even know how to read. You learn your lines by heart, and soon, you can't remember ever having a choice. Now, imagine your kitchen. You open a drawer and find a set of cookie cutters. Each one is a different shape, a star, a heart, a gingerbread person. You roll out the dough, press down, and lift away the excess. The dough takes the shape of the cutter, not because it wanted to, but because that's what the tool demanded. De Beauvoir saw society as a set of cookie cutters, pressing people into forms that feel natural only because they are so familiar. The dough could have been anything. But once it's cut, it's hard to remember the formlessness that came before. For de Beauvoir, this wasn't just about women. It was about the way all identities are built. The world tells you what you are, and you learn to see yourself through its eyes. The process is so subtle, so constant, that it feels like truth. But it's a truth made by repetition, not by nature. The categories we inherit, man, woman, strong, weak, rational, emotional, are scaffolding, not destiny. She wrote her book, The Second Sex, in a France still reeling from war, in a world where women could not open a bank account without a husband's permission. She watched as girls were taught to be quiet, to be pretty, to be pleasing. She saw how boys were told to be brave, to be leaders, to never cry. And she realized, none of this is inevitable. It is taught, enforced, and, most dangerously, internalized. There's a kind of vertigo in this idea. If identity is constructed, then what else might be? If you are not born, but become, then who is doing the becoming? Who is holding the cookie cutter? Who decides which scripts are handed out and which are forbidden? Maybe you remember a time when you tried to step outside your assigned shape. Maybe you wore the wrong clothes, spoke the wrong way, loved the wrong person. The discomfort you felt wasn't just personal. It was the world pushing back, reminding you of the lines you were supposed to stay inside. The pain of not fitting is real, but so is the possibility of refusing the mold. De Beauvoir's challenge was not just to women, but to everyone. She asked us to see the invisible hands that shape us, and to imagine what might happen if we let go of the script. If gender is a story, it can be rewritten. If identity is a process, it can be changed. The danger, and the hope, is that nothing about us is as fixed as we were told. You are not the dough. You are the hands that shape it. And somewhere, in the quiet space before the world tells you what you are, there is a moment of formlessness, a freedom so deep it almost feels like falling. That is where the story begins. The social construction of reality. You open your eyes, and nothing makes sense. The words people use are strange. The rules are invisible, but everyone else seems to know them. Even the way people greet each other feels off, like you've landed in a play where you never got the script. This is not a dream. It's the world, stripped of the agreements that make it feel solid. In 1966, Peter Berger and Thomas Luckman wrote that reality is not just out there, waiting to be discovered. It's built, piece by piece, by people agreeing on what counts as real. Think about the way you trust a green light to mean go, or the way money, just paper and numbers, becomes your rent, your dinner, your future. None of this is natural. It's a handshake, repeated billions of times, until it feels like gravity. It's like waking up in someone else's kitchen. The coffee is in the wrong place. The fridge hums a different tune. You realize how much of your world is just habit, shared with others, until it becomes invisible. What you take for granted is a collective spell. Break the spell, and the world wobbles. Keep listening, and you might never see your own reality the same way again. The looking glass self. Think back to a moment when someone's words, or even just a glance, made you see yourself differently. Maybe it was a teacher's raised eyebrow, a friend's offhand comment, or the way a stranger looked at you in passing. For a split second, your sense of who you are flickered, like a mirror catching a new angle of light. Charles Horton Cooley, writing in 1902, believed that this flicker is not a glitch. It's the whole system. He called it the looking glass self. According to Cooley, your identity is not something you build alone, brick by brick, deep inside your mind. Instead, it's more like a reflection in a shop window, shaped by the faces and voices around you, always shifting, always a little out of your control. Here's the strange part. You are partly made of other people's expectations. The self, Cooley said, is a social product. You imagine how others see you. You imagine how they judge you. And then you feel something. Pride, shame, confidence, doubt. That feeling becomes part of you. It's as if your mind is a hall of mirrors, and every person you meet adds another pane of glass. Think about how it feels when you walk into a room full of people you admire. Your posture changes. Your voice shifts. You become a slightly different version of yourself, tuned to the imagined feedback of the crowd. Or maybe you remember being a kid, hearing your parents talk about you to someone else. She's so shy, or he's always the smart one. Those labels stick. They echo in your head for years, shaping the story you tell about yourself, even when no one else is listening. It's a bit like wearing a sweater that someone else picked out for you. At first, it feels strange, maybe even uncomfortable. But over time, you get used to it. You start to think of it as yours. Sometimes you forget you're even wearing it at all. The looking-glass self is fragile. It means your sense of identity can be bent, stretched, or even shattered by the people around you. A single cruel word can linger for decades. A single act of kindness can change the way you see yourself forever. You are not just the sum of your private thoughts. You are also the sum of every glance, every whisper, every expectation that has ever bounced off your skin. So when you catch your own reflection in someone else's eyes, you have to wonder, who is really looking back? And how much of you is just a story told by others, repeated until it feels true? The extended phenotype. Reach out your hand. Feel the table, the phone, the blanket. Now, imagine that what you're touching is not just part of your world, but part of you, at least part of what your DNA is up to. In 1982, Richard Dawkins wrote about something he called the extended phenotype. It's the idea that your genes don't stop at the edge of your skin. They reach out, shaping the world around you. A beaver's dam isn't just a pile of sticks, it's a genetic signature, written across a river. A spider's web is spun from DNA as much as silk. The shape, the pattern, the placement, each is a quiet echo of the spider's genes, stretching out into the world. Think about your bedroom, the way you arrange your books, the posters you choose, the mess or the order. It's not just taste or habit, it's a ripple from your biology, nudging the world into a shape that suits you. Your environment is a kind of shadow, cast by your DNA. So when you see a beaver dam, or a spider's web, or even your own cluttered desk, you're looking at something strange, a living blueprint, reaching out beyond the body, changing the world to fit its code. The line between organism and environment isn't as sharp as you thought. Sometimes, your legacy is the world you leave behind, not just the body you inhabit. The Red Queen hypothesis. You know that feeling when you're sprinting on a treadmill, sweat pouring down your face, legs burning, but the scenery never changes. You're running as hard as you can, but you're not getting anywhere. That's the Red Queen's world. And, whether you realize it or not, it's yours too. Leigh Van Vallen, a biologist with a knack for seeing patterns where others saw chaos, gave this idea a name in 1973. He borrowed it from Lewis Carroll's Through the Looking Glass, where the Red Queen tells Alice, it takes all the running you can do to keep in the same place. Van Vallen saw that in nature, survival isn't about getting ahead, it's about not falling behind. Every species is locked in a race, not to win, but to avoid losing. Think about it. Every living thing on Earth is tangled in a web of competition. Gazelles run faster because cheetahs get faster. Cheetahs get faster because gazelles get faster. Trees grow taller to reach the sun, so their neighbors must stretch higher too. Parasites evolve new tricks, so hosts must invent new defenses. It's a never-ending arms race, and the finish line keeps moving. If you stop, even for a moment, you're out, extinct, forgotten. It's easy to imagine evolution as a ladder, each rung a step up, each generation a little better than the last. But the Red Queen says, forget the ladder. Picture a frantic dance floor, every dancer trying to keep up with the beat, but the music keeps speeding up. If you stumble, you're trampled. If you pause, you vanish. The only way to survive is to keep moving, even if you never get ahead. Now, let's bring this closer to home. Imagine your phone. Every year, a new model comes out. Faster processor, better camera, shinier screen. You upgrade, not because your old phone stopped working, but because the world around you changed. Apps demand more power. Friends expect better photos. The digital world is a Red Queen race. If you don't keep up, you fall behind. Your phone becomes obsolete, not because it broke, but because everything else moved forward. But the Red Queen isn't just about gadgets or gazelles. It's in your kitchen too. Think about bread. For centuries, bakers and mold have been locked in a battle. Bakers invent preservatives to keep bread fresh. Mold evolves to eat through those preservatives. The recipe changes. The mold adapts. You can't win. You can only keep running. Lee Van Valen's insight was unsettling because it stripped away the comfort of progress. We like to think that hard work, cleverness, or luck will let us get ahead. But in the Red Queen's world, effort is just the price of staying alive. The moment you stop adapting, the world moves on without you. It's not just about being the fastest or the strongest. It's about never stopping. And this isn't just a story about animals or technology. It's about you. Your immune system is a Red Queen race, fighting off viruses that are always mutating, always finding new ways in. Your habits, your skills, even your relationships, they all demand constant attention, constant adjustment. The world you woke up in this morning is not quite the same as the one you'll fall asleep in tonight. The rules change, the players change, and you have to keep running just to stay in place. There's something both exhausting and beautiful about this. The Red Queen hypothesis says there's no finish line, no final victory. But it also means you're part of a living, breathing story that never stops. Every day is a new race, a new chance to adapt, to change, to keep moving. So the next time you feel like you're running and getting nowhere, remember, that's not failure. That's survival. The treadmill never stops, and neither can you. In the Red Queen's world, standing still is the most dangerous move of all. The Fermi Paradox. Step outside tonight and tilt your head back. The sky above you is a black ocean, scattered with stars, hundreds, thousands, millions. Each one could be a sun, with planets spinning around it, maybe even worlds like ours. The numbers are dizzying. There are more stars in the universe than grains of sand on every beach on Earth. So where is everyone? In 1950, the physicist Enrico Fermi sat down for lunch and asked a question that still echoes in the silence. Where is everybody? If life is so likely, why does the universe feel so empty? This is the Fermi Paradox. The math says we should be surrounded by signals, by visitors, by evidence. But all we get is static. Maybe life is rare. Maybe every civilization destroys itself before it can reach out. Or maybe, and this is the one that keeps people up at night, maybe we're in a kind of cosmic zoo, watched, but never contacted. Or maybe none of this is real at all, and the silence is just a line of code, waiting for someone to press enter. It's like living in a city of 1 billion apartments, but every window is dark, and you're the only one awake. The silence isn't just empty, it's a warning. And as you listen to the quiet, you can't help but wonder if the universe is trying to tell us something we're not ready to hear. The Great Filter. You wake up in the middle of the night, thirsty. The house is silent. You walk to the kitchen, open the fridge, and for a moment, the hum of the world feels distant. Out there, beyond your walls, the universe is even quieter. Not a single signal, not a single voice. Just silence, stretching for billions of light years. This is the silence that haunted Robin Hanson in 1996. He called it the Great Filter. The idea is simple, but it lands like a punch. Somewhere between the birth of life and the rise of a galaxy-spanning civilization, there is a step so hard, so unlikely, that almost nothing makes it through. Maybe it's the jump from simple cells to complex ones. Maybe it's the leap from animals to intelligence. Or maybe it's something waiting for us in the future, a wall we haven't hit yet. Think about it like making a family recipe. You follow the steps, one by one. Most are easy. Crack the eggs, stir the batter. But then there's that one step, the one your grandmother never wrote down, the one that always goes wrong. Maybe the dough never rises. Maybe the sauce splits. Most people never get past it. If you're eating the finished dish, you're either incredibly lucky or you haven't reached the hard part yet. That's the Great Filter. If we're here, listening to this, maybe we already passed the impossible step. Maybe life is so rare that we are the miracle, the survivors, the ones who made it through. But the silence out there, the emptiness, whispers another possibility. Maybe the hardest step is still ahead. Maybe every civilization gets close, starts to reach out, and then something happens. War, plague, technology gone wrong. The kitchen goes quiet. The recipe is never finished. Robin Hansen's question is simple, but it keeps you up at night. Are we the lucky ones, or are we next? The silence of the stars could be a sign of hope, or a warning. If the filter is behind us, we are precious beyond words. If it's ahead, every day is a countdown we can't see. It's easy to feel small, standing in your kitchen, staring at the dark window. But the stakes are enormous. The Great Filter isn't just about aliens. It's about us, about whether our story is a rare success or a tragedy waiting to happen. The silence may mean we are next. Boltzmann Brains. Close your eyes for a second. Imagine you're not a person with a history, but just a brain, suddenly blinking into existence, floating in the dark, with a lifetime of memories that never happened. You remember your childhood, your favorite song, the way your pillow feels right now. But none of it is real. You're a hallucination, assembled by chance, and in the next moment, you'll vanish. This is the Boltzmann Brain Paradox. In the late 1800s, Ludwig Boltzmann tried to explain why the universe is so orderly when chaos is so much more likely. He realized that, in a universe ruled by random chance, it's far easier for a single brain to pop into existence, complete with fake memories, than for an entire universe to form the way we think it did. It's like waking up from a dream and realizing you're still dreaming, but the dream is your whole life. If you've ever found yourself in a kitchen, reaching for a mug you're sure you own, only to realize you've never seen it before, you've tasted a sliver of this feeling. The unsettling part? If Boltzmann was right, most conscious beings in the universe aren't living real lives at all. They're just momentary brains, flickering into existence, utterly convinced by their own fake stories. So, how sure are you that you're not one of them? The Doomsday Argument. You are here, listening, right now. Out of all the centuries, all the billions of people who have ever lived or will live, you are alive in this particular moment. That feels like a miracle. But there's a piece of math that turns that miracle into a warning. In 1983, a physicist named Brandon Carter sat down and asked a question that sounds innocent at first. If you don't know when humanity will end, but you do know you exist somewhere in the timeline, what does that say about our future? The answer is called the Doomsday Argument, and it's the kind of idea that can keep you up at night. Here's the unsettling part. The argument says you're probably not one of the very first humans. You're probably not one of the very last either. Statistically, you're most likely somewhere in the middle. And if that's true, then the number of people who will ever exist is probably not much larger than the number who have already lived. Which means the end might be closer than you think. Let's make this less abstract. Imagine you walk into a movie theater halfway through a film. You don't know when it started or when it will end. But if you had to guess, you'd probably assume you're somewhere near the middle. It would be strange to think you just happened to arrive in the first 5 minutes or the last 5. The most reasonable bet is that you're in the thick of it. Now, swap the movie for humanity. There have been about 100 billion humans so far. If you're somewhere in the middle, then maybe there are only a few 100 billion more to come. Not trillions, not endless generations. Just a few more acts before the credits roll. But let's bring it even closer to home. Think about a loaf of bread in your kitchen. You reach in and pull out a slice. If you have no idea how many slices are left, but you know you're holding one, you'd guess there are probably about as many slices left as you've already eaten. You wouldn't expect the loaf to go on forever. The slice in your hand is a clue about where you are in the sequence. Brandon Carter's Doomsday Argument uses this same logic, but with humanity as the loaf. Your birth order is a data point. If you were one of the very first humans, that would be weird. If you were one of the very last, that would also be weird. The most likely scenario is that you're somewhere in the fat, ordinary middle. And if that's true, then the future is not as long as we like to imagine. This isn't prophecy, it's probability. The argument doesn't say how humanity will end, or even that it must. It just says that, from a cold statistical point of view, you shouldn't expect to be living in the earliest chapters of the story. And if you're not, then the story is already well underway. People have tried to poke holes in this idea. Maybe we're just at the start of a long, glorious future. Maybe we're the first sparks of a civilization that will last for millions of years. But the math keeps whispering, probably not. Probably, you're somewhere in the middle. Probably, the end is closer than you want to believe. It's a strange kind of fatalism. Not the doom of a prophet, but the quiet dread of a statistician. The Doomsday Argument doesn't care about your hopes or your plans. It just looks at the numbers and shrugs. And yet, there's something oddly intimate about it. The idea that your existence is a clue, a marker in the timeline. That being alive right now is not just a random accident, but a piece of evidence about the fate of everyone who will ever live. Maybe that's the real discomfort, the sense that, just by being here, you're holding a ticket with a number on it, and the line ahead of you is shorter than you thought. Somewhere, in the quiet of the night, you might wonder, if you knew the end was near, would you live any differently? Or would you, like most people, keep reaching for the next slice of bread, pretending the loaf will never run out? The paradox of tolerance. Imagine a city where every idea is welcome. No matter how strange, how cruel, or how dangerous, every voice gets a seat at the table. At first, it feels like freedom. But then, something odd happens. The people who hate tolerance the most start to shout the loudest. They demand the right to silence others, to stamp out difference, to make the city theirs alone. In 1945, the philosopher Karl Popper saw this coming. He wrote that if a society is endlessly tolerant, even of those who want to destroy tolerance, then tolerance itself disappears. The open city becomes a fortress, or worse, a graveyard for freedom. It's like leaving your front door unlocked because you believe in kindness, only to find your home taken over by people who don't. At some point, you have to say, no, you can't come in if your only goal is to burn the house down. Popper's warning is simple, but it stings. To protect a tolerant society, we must sometimes be intolerant of intolerance itself. Otherwise, the thing we cherish most will vanish, not with a bang, but with a slow, quiet surrender. The tragedy of the commons. You're standing at the edge of a green field, the grass soft under your shoes, the air heavy with the smell of earth and animals. All around you, other herders are leading their cows onto the pasture. You watch as one, then another, adds just one more cow to the herd. It seems harmless. After all, the grass is free, and everyone is just trying to get by. But as the days pass, the field grows patchy. The cows are thinner. The grass doesn't grow back as quickly. And still each herder thinks, if I don't add another cow, someone else will. This is the tragedy of the commons. In 1968, Garrett Hardin gave it a name. He described a world where shared resources, like a pasture, a river, or even the air, are open to everyone, but owned by no one. Each person, acting in their own best interest, takes a little more. No one means harm, but together, their choices strip the land bare. It's a strange kind of logic. If you add one more cow, you get all the milk. The cost, the extra wear on the grass, is spread out among everyone. So, adding a cow is rational. But when everyone thinks this way, the field collapses. The rational choice for the individual becomes a disaster for the group. It's like eating the last cookie from a plate at a party. You know you shouldn't, but if you don't, someone else will. One cookie doesn't matter. But if everyone thinks this way, the plate is empty in minutes, and no one remembers who started it. Garrett Hardin's warning wasn't just about cows. He was thinking about oceans stripped of fish, forests cut down for timber, the atmosphere filling with carbon. The tragedy of the commons is everywhere. It's in the way we use antibiotics, the way we drive cars, the way we share a kitchen with roommates. Each person's small, reasonable action adds up to something no one wanted. And here's the part that stings. The more rational you are, the more likely you are to make the problem worse. The system rewards short-term gain and punishes restraint. If you hold back, you lose out. If you join in, you help ruin the thing you depend on. It's a trap with no easy exit. You might feel a little uneasy now, thinking about your own life. Maybe you've left the lights on, or taken a little more than your share. Maybe you've watched others do the same and felt powerless to stop it. The tragedy of the commons isn't just a story about fields and cows. It's a mirror, showing us how our cleverness can turn against us. And if you listen closely, you can almost hear the grass growing thinner underfoot, one quiet choice at a time. The prisoner's dilemma. You're sitting on a cold bench in a tiny cell. The walls are close, the air is stale, and you know someone else is locked up just like you. In the next room, a voice slides through the door. If you betray your partner, you go free, and they take the fall. If you both stay silent, you both get a light sentence. But if you both betray, you both lose. The catch? You can't talk to each other. You have to decide, alone, whether to trust or to turn. This is the prisoner's dilemma, the classic game theory trap. The logic is cruel. If you act in your own self-interest, you're pushed to betray. But if both of you do what's rational, you both end up worse off than if you just trusted each other. It's a perfect recipe for broken trust, even when cooperation would help everyone. It's like splitting the last slice of pizza with a friend. If you both wait, you can share. But if you both grab, you fight. The world is full of these silent cells, at work, in politics, even at home, where the safe move is to look out for yourself, and everyone ends up hungry. The prisoner's dilemma isn't just a puzzle, it's a mirror, showing how easy it is for trust to collapse, even when we all want the same thing. The Dunning-Kruger Effect. You know that feeling when you're absolutely sure you're right, so sure you'd bet your reputation, your friendships, maybe even your job on it. And then, in one sharp, humiliating moment, you realize you were completely, spectacularly wrong. The answer was obvious to everyone else, but not to you. That's the moment the ground drops out from under your confidence, and you're left blinking, wondering how you could have missed something so simple. This isn't just embarrassment. It's a glitch in the way our minds work. In 1999, two psychologists at Cornell University, David Dunning and Justin Kruger, ran a series of experiments that would become infamous. They asked people to rate their own skills in everything from grammar to logic to sense of humor. The results were almost comical. The people who performed the worst, who scored in the bottom quarter, consistently rated themselves as above average. Sometimes way above average. The less they knew, the more certain they felt. Dunning and Kruger called this the Dunning-Kruger Effect. It's not just a quirk, it's a trap. When you lack skill or knowledge in a field, you're missing the very tools you'd need to recognize your own mistakes. You don't know enough to see what you don't know, so you fill in the gaps with confidence. Ignorance breeds certainty, while real expertise breeds doubt. It's like trying to fix a leak under your kitchen sink. If you've never touched a wrench in your life, you might look at the pipes and think, how hard can it be? You twist a few things, tighten a bolt, and feel a rush of pride. But the next morning, you wake up to a flooded kitchen. The real plumber, the one who spent years crawling under sinks, knows how many things can go wrong. They approach the job with caution, double-checking every step. The beginner is fearless. The expert is careful. But the Dunning-Kruger effect isn't just about plumbing or pop quizzes. It's everywhere. In 1995, a man named MacArthur Wheeler robbed two banks in Pittsburgh with his face smeared in lemon juice. He believed, sincerely, that lemon juice would make him invisible to security cameras. He'd read somewhere that lemon juice could be used as invisible ink, and he made the leap. If it hides words, maybe it hides faces. When the police showed him the surveillance footage, he was stunned. He wasn't stupid. He was just so far outside his depth that he couldn't see the edge. The real danger is that this effect doesn't feel like ignorance. It feels like certainty. It's the voice in your head that says, I've got this, when you really, really don't. It's the friend who insists they know the fastest route, only to get you hopelessly lost. It's the coworker who corrects everyone else, but never seems to get things right. It's the politician who claims to have all the answers, while missing the complexity of the problem entirely. And it's not just other people. It's you. It's me. It's all of us, at some point, in some area of life. The Dunning-Kruger effect is universal. The less you know, the more likely you are to overestimate yourself. The more you learn, the more you realize how much you don't know. That's why true experts often sound hesitant, even when they're right. They've seen the hidden pitfalls. They know how easy it is to be wrong. Think about the last time you argued with someone about something you only half understood. Maybe it was a debate about nutrition, or climate change, or how to raise a child. You felt sure you were right, until someone with real experience started asking questions you couldn't answer. That sinking feeling, that sudden doubt, is the Dunning-Kruger effect in reverse. The moment you realize the world is bigger, messier, and more complicated than you thought. It's like standing in a dark room, convinced you know every corner, until someone turns on the light and you see how much you missed. Or like reading the first page of a novel and thinking you know the whole story. The more pages you turn, the more you realize how little you understood at the start. The Dunning-Kruger effect isn't just a psychological curiosity. It's a warning. Confidence is not a sign of knowledge. Sometimes it's the opposite. The next time you feel certain, absolutely, unshakably certain, pause for a moment. Ask yourself, what if I'm missing something obvious? What if the thing I'm most sure of is the thing I understand the least? Because the scariest mistakes are the ones you never see coming, and sometimes the only thing standing between you and disaster is the humility to admit you might be wrong. The observer effect. Imagine a world where the moment you look at something, it changes. Not just in your mind, but out there, in the fabric of reality itself. In quantum physics, this is not a metaphor. The act of observing an electron, just watching, can shift its path, as if the universe is shy and only reveals itself when it thinks you are not paying attention. It's like having a mirror in your hallway that only shows your reflection when you're not looking straight at it. The second you turn your head, the image flickers, and you can never quite catch it in the act. The world, it seems, is always a little different when you try to pin it down. But this isn't just a trick of subatomic particles. In social science, people act differently when they know they're being watched. A classroom, a workplace, even a dinner table, attention warps the scene. The observer is never invisible. Reality bends, just a little, under the weight of your gaze. You might think you're just watching, but the world is watching you back. Every glance is a ripple. Every question, a nudge. The universe is not a stage set for you to sit quietly in the audience. The moment you look, the play rewrites itself. The butterfly effect. You're lying in bed, listening to the soft hum of your own breath. When you remember the story, a butterfly flaps its wings in Brazil, and weeks later, a hurricane spins into existence off the coast of Texas. It sounds like a fairy tale, or maybe a joke, but in 1961, a meteorologist named Edward Lorenz stumbled onto something that would make the world feel much stranger and much less predictable than anyone expected. Lorenz was running weather simulations on a computer the size of a refrigerator. One afternoon, he decided to repeat a calculation, but to save time, he rounded one number ever so slightly. Instead of entering 0.506127, he typed 0.506. The difference was less than the weight of a snowflake. But when the simulation finished, the weather pattern had changed completely. The storm clouds, the winds, the entire future of the model. None of it matched the original. Lorenz stared at the printout, realizing he'd found something no one had seen before. In some systems, the tiniest nudge can send everything spinning off in a new direction. This is chaos theory. It's not chaos as in disorder, but chaos as in sensitivity. Systems so delicately balanced that a single breath, a single heartbeat, can tip the scales. The world is full of these systems. The weather, the stock market, your own life. You think you're steering the ship, but sometimes the smallest ripple can change your entire course. Think about the last time you missed a bus by a few seconds. Maybe you met someone new at the next stop, or maybe you avoided an accident you never even knew about. It's like finding out that the way you butter your toast in the morning could, in some wild chain of events, end up changing the fate of a city. Most of the time, these tiny changes cancel each other out, but every so often, one slips through, and the world is never the same. Edward Lorenz's butterfly wasn't just a metaphor, it was a warning. The future is not written in stone. Even if you knew every rule, every law of physics, you'd still be surprised. The universe is a tangled web, and a single thread, tugged just right, can unravel everything. There's something delightful and a little terrifying about that. It means that nothing is truly insignificant. Every word, every glance, every choice you make, each one could echo outwards in ways you'll never see. The world is unpredictable, not because it's broken, but because it's alive. And if a butterfly can change the weather, what might you change just by listening to this story tonight? The map is not the territory. You're driving at night, headlights cutting through the dark, and your phone's map says turn left. But the road in front of you is a dead end. The map is clean, simple, confident. The world is messy, cracked, and full of surprises. In 1931, Alfred Korzybski warned us, the map is not the territory. Every model, every chart, every story you use to make sense of the world, none of them are the world itself. They're shortcuts. They leave things out. Sometimes, they leave out the most important parts. It's like reading a recipe and thinking you've tasted the meal, or scrolling through someone's social feed and believing you know their life. The map is always smaller than the land it tries to describe. The real danger comes when you forget this. When you start trusting the model more than your own senses. When you mistake the menu for the food, the weather app for the sky, the plan for the living, breathing chaos of reality. Every understanding you have is a map with missing roads. The world is always bigger, stranger, and more complicated than the picture in your head. And the moment you forget that, you're lost, even if you think you know exactly where you are. The Black Swan. You're sitting at your kitchen table, scrolling through the news, when the world you thought you knew vanishes in a single headline. The markets crash overnight. A virus you've never heard of closes every school and street. Or maybe it's something smaller, but just as shattering. A phone call, a diagnosis, a secret revealed. One moment, everything is normal. The next, nothing will ever be the same. This is the moment of the Black Swan. Nassim Nicholas Taleb gave it a name in 2007, but the feeling is ancient. A Black Swan event is something so rare, so impossible seeming, that no one expects it, until it happens. And when it does, it doesn't just change the story, it rewrites the rules. Taleb's idea is simple, but it's a kind of simplicity that feels like a trapdoor. Most of the time, we live as if the world is predictable. We build our lives on routines, forecasts, and plans. We trust that tomorrow will look like today, just with a few more emails. But the most important events, the ones that shape history or your own life, are the ones you never see coming. They are outliers, hiding in the blind spots of our imagination. Think about it like this. You're walking down a familiar street, keys in your pocket, mind on autopilot. You've walked this way 1,000 times, but all it takes is one car, one slip, one stranger's decision, and your entire future is rewritten. The odds were tiny. But for you, the odds don't matter anymore. The impossible has become your reality. Taleb's Black Swan isn't just about disasters. It's about the limits of what we can know. For centuries, Europeans believed all swans were white. The phrase Black Swan meant something that didn't exist. Then, in 1697, explorers in Australia found real black swans. The impossible was suddenly undeniable. The lesson: no matter how many white swans you see, you can never be sure there isn't a black one waiting somewhere you haven't looked. Here's where it gets uncomfortable. Humans are bad at predicting outliers. We're wired to see patterns, to expect the future to echo the past. We build models, run simulations, and tell ourselves we're prepared. But our models are like a grocery list for a dinner party, useful until someone brings a tiger instead of dessert. The map is never the territory. The plan is never the event. Let's bring it closer to home. Imagine you're baking a cake. You follow the recipe, measure every ingredient, set the timer. You've made this cake 12 times. But today, the power goes out halfway through, or you drop the bowl, or you discover, too late, that the sugar was actually salt. The recipe didn't warn you. The instructions never mentioned this possibility. But now, your kitchen smells like disaster, and you're left staring at a mess you never planned for. That's a black swan in your own oven. Taleb argues that most of what matters, wars, financial crashes, scientific breakthroughs, even the person you fall in love with, arrives this way, not as a slow build, but as a shock. And after it happens, we invent stories to explain it, pretending we saw it coming all along. We call it hindsight. But really, it's just our fear of chaos, dressed up as wisdom. The unsettling part is that black swans are not rare in their impact. They are rare in their predictability. The world is shaped by what we can't see, can't measure, can't imagine. And yet we keep living as if the next day will be just like the last. We insure our houses against fire, but not against the meteor. We save for retirement, but not for the day the rules change overnight. There's a kind of dread in this, but also a strange freedom. If the most important events are the ones you can't predict, then certainty is an illusion. Control is a story we tell ourselves to sleep at night. The real world is wilder, stranger, and more fragile than we want to believe. So the next time you find yourself making plans, remember the black swan. The world is not a machine, but a living thing, full of surprises. And sometimes, the impossible is just waiting for its moment to walk through your door. The problem of evil. Close your eyes for a moment and imagine a world where pain is everywhere. Children cry out in hunger, storms flatten homes, good people suffer, and cruelty seems to win. Now, ask yourself, if there is a God who is all-powerful and all-loving, why does any of this exist? This is the problem of evil, the question that has haunted believers and doubters for centuries. It's not just a riddle for philosophers. It's the ache in your chest when you hear about a tragedy and wonder if anyone is listening. If God can do anything and wants the best for us, why allow so much suffering? Why cancer? Why war? Why heartbreak? Some say evil is a test, or a lesson, or the price of free will. But deep down, the question lingers. Could a truly good and limitless being allow this much pain? Or is evil, somehow, a necessary part of the story, woven into the fabric of existence, like the shadow that makes the light visible? It's like living in a house where every room is beautiful, but there's always a locked door, and behind it, something is crying. You can't ignore it. You can't explain it away. You just keep listening, hoping for an answer that never quite comes. The Omnipotence Paradox. You're standing in your kitchen, holding a heavy bag of groceries. You try to lift it, but it's just too much. Now, imagine someone walks in and claims they can lift anything, no matter how heavy. You hand them the bag, and they hoist it with one hand, grinning. But then you ask, could you make a bag so heavy that even you couldn't lift it? Suddenly, their grin fades. The question isn't just a trick, it's a trap. This is the heart of the Omnipotence Paradox. Can an all-powerful being create a stone so heavy that even it cannot lift it? If yes, then there's something it cannot do, lift the stone. If no, then there's something it cannot do, create the stone. Either way, absolute power seems to defeat itself. Theologians like Thomas Aquinas wrestled with this in the 13th century, and philosophers, from René Descartes to J.L. Mackie, have argued over it ever since. The paradox isn't just about gods or superheroes. It's about the limits of logic itself. Think about it like this. You're playing chess against yourself. You can make any move you want, but you can't win and lose at the same time. The rules of the game set boundaries, no matter how clever you are. In the same way, Even the idea of unlimited power runs into the walls built by logic. Some things are impossible, not because they're too hard, but because they don't make sense. A square circle, a married bachelor, a stone so heavy the lifter can't lift it. These aren't challenges, they're contradictions. Here's where it gets weird. The Omnipotence Paradox doesn't just poke holes in the idea of a God who can do anything. It also messes with our everyday sense of what power means. We like to think that with enough strength, money, or willpower, anything is possible. But some doors are locked, not by weakness, but by the shape of reality itself. You can't both eat your cake and have it untouched on the plate. You can't be in two places at once, no matter how badly you want to. The universe has rules, and even the wildest imagination can't break them without falling into nonsense. So, the next time someone claims they could do anything if only they had enough power, remember the stone. The real boundary isn't strength or skill. It's the logic that holds the world together. Absolute power, it turns out, is a story that collapses under its own weight. And once you see that, you start to wonder what other limits are hiding in plain sight, just waiting for someone to ask the wrong question. The problem of the criterion. Try to picture this. You're standing in front of a ladder, but there's no first rung. You reach out, but your foot just hovers in the air. How do you climb when there's nowhere to start? That's the problem Roderick Chisholm put his finger on in 1966. He called it the problem of the criterion. It sounds abstract, but it's actually the most basic question you can ask. How do we know what we know? If you want to sort true beliefs from false ones, you need a standard, a criterion. But to pick a good standard, you need to already know which beliefs are true. It's a loop. You need knowledge to justify knowledge. It's like trying to check if your bathroom scale is accurate, but the only thing you have to test it is the same scale. Or asking a mirror if it's showing you the real you, when the only thing you can see is the mirror's own reflection. Chisholm's point is simple and quietly devastating. There's no non-circular way to justify knowledge. Every attempt to build a foundation just loops back on itself. The ladder has no first rung. And yet, here we are, climbing anyway. The paradox of choice. You're standing in the supermarket, clutching a basket, staring at a wall of cereal boxes. There are 27 kinds of granola, some with honey, some with almonds, some with dried fruit, some that promise to make you healthy, some that promise to make you happy. You came in for breakfast, but now you're frozen, heart beating a little faster, mind flickering between boxes, wondering which one is right. You feel a strange pressure building behind your eyes. It's just cereal. Why does it feel like a test? Barry Schwartz gave this feeling a name in 2004, the paradox of choice. He noticed something odd about modern life. The more options we have, the less satisfied we become. Freedom, the thing we're told to crave, can turn on us. It can make us anxious, even miserable. It sounds backwards. We're raised to believe that more choice means more happiness, that freedom is the highest good. But Schwartz found that when the options multiply, so do the doubts. Every decision becomes a gamble. Every choice is a door you close forever. You pick one cereal, and 26 others become ghosts, haunting you with what-ifs. It's like standing at a fork in the road, except the road splits into 100 paths, each one vanishing into the fog. You take a step, but you can't help glancing back, wondering if you missed the one that would have led to something better. The freedom to choose becomes a burden to carry. Think about your phone. You open a food delivery app, and there are hundreds of restaurants. You scroll and scroll, stomach rumbling, but the more you look, the harder it gets to decide. You start to worry. What if you pick the wrong dinner? What if you waste your one good meal on something mediocre? The freedom to eat anything becomes the fear of missing out on everything. Or maybe it's your closet. You stand in front of it, packed with shirts and pants and shoes, and somehow you feel like you have nothing to wear. The more you own, the more you second guess. Did you choose the right outfit? Will you regret it later? The freedom to dress any way you want becomes a kind of silent accusation. You could have done better. Schwartz's research showed that when people are given too many options, they actually enjoy their choices less. They are more likely to regret, to ruminate, to blame themselves if things don't work out. The freedom that was supposed to liberate us ends up trapping us in a maze of our own making. It's not just about shopping. It's about life. College majors, career paths, relationships, even identities. Every door you open means closing another. Every yes is 1,000 silent no's. The world tells you that you can be anything, do anything, love anyone. But that promise comes with a hidden cost, the weight of infinite possibility. There's a kind of comfort in limits. When you have only 2 choices, you pick one and move on. When you have 200, you freeze. You start to wonder if the problem is you. Maybe you're just bad at choosing. Maybe everyone else is gliding through life, confident and satisfied, while you're stuck in the cereal aisle, sweating over granola. But you're not alone. Schwartz found that this anxiety is everywhere. It's baked into the structure of modern life. The more freedom we have, the more we fear making the wrong move. The more we can imagine, the more we can regret. Sometimes, the thing that's supposed to set you free is the very thing that holds you in place. You stand in the aisle, surrounded by endless options, and realize that the real prison is made of invisible doors. Somewhere, someone is still standing there, basket in hand, staring at the shelves, waiting for the feeling of certainty that never comes. The Hedonic Treadmill. Close your eyes for a second. Imagine you wake up tomorrow and find out you've won the lottery. Not a little bit, enough to buy anything you want, erase every debt, change your life forever. For a while, you're floating. Everything tastes brighter, the world feels new. But then something strange happens. A year goes by, and you're brushing your teeth, staring at your own face in the mirror, and you realize you feel pretty much the same as before. In 1971, psychologists Philip Brickman and Donald Campbell gave this feeling a name: the hedonic treadmill. No matter what happens, good or bad, people tend to return to their usual level of happiness. Win the lottery, lose your job, fall in love, get your heart broken. After the shock fades, your mood drifts back to its old set point. Like a thermostat, quietly resetting itself. It's like rearranging your bedroom, hoping it'll finally feel perfect, only to find that after a week, you barely notice the change. The pursuit of pleasure never ends, because the finish line keeps moving. The more you chase happiness, the more it slips back to where it started. So if you're waiting for the next big thing to finally make you happy, you might be running on a treadmill that never stops. And the strangest part? You're not alone. Every person you know is running right beside you, chasing a feeling that always circles back home. The experience machine. You wake up in a room with a single question waiting for you. There's a machine here, humming quietly, and a gentle voice offers you a choice. If you step inside, you'll live a life of perfect happiness, every wish granted, every moment blissful, every pain erased. You'll never know it's a simulation. To you, it will feel as real as the world you just left behind. This is not a scene from a sci-fi movie. In 1974, Robert Nozick, a philosopher with a knack for uncomfortable questions, imagined this exact scenario. He called it the experience machine. And he wanted to know, would you plug in? At first, it sounds like a trick. Who wouldn't want a life of endless pleasure? No heartbreak, no boredom, no disappointment, just pure, uninterrupted joy. But then something strange happens. The longer you think about it, the more the offer starts to itch. There's a catch here, but it's not obvious. It's not about the machine breaking down or the simulation glitching. The problem is deeper, and it's hiding in plain sight. Think about the last time you ate your favorite food. Maybe it was a slice of pizza, hot and greasy, or a bowl of ice cream on a summer night. The first bite is magic. The second is still good. But by the fifth or sixth, something changes. The pleasure fades. You start to wonder if you're even hungry anymore. The experience is real, but the meaning slips away. Nozick's machine is like that, but turned up to 11. It promises pleasure, but it quietly takes something else. Authenticity. The sense that your life is really yours, that your struggles and triumphs matter because you chose them, not because they were programmed for you. The machine can give you the feeling of climbing a mountain, but not the scraped knees, the fear, the real risk of falling. It can give you the illusion of love, but not the awkward silences, the arguments, the slow, messy work of building trust. Here's the weird part. Most people, when asked, say they wouldn't plug in. Even if the machine could guarantee perfect happiness, something feels wrong about trading reality for a dream. It's like being offered a perfect movie of your life, but knowing you'll never actually live it. The pleasure is there, but the meaning is missing. Nozick's question is a grenade, tossed into the heart of hedonism, the idea that pleasure is the highest good. If pleasure alone isn't enough, then what is? Maybe it's the struggle, the uncertainty, the chance to fail. Maybe it's the knowledge that your pain is real, and so is your joy. So, would you step into the machine? Or would you walk away, knowing that real life is messier, riskier, and sometimes unbearably hard, but also, somehow, more yours? And if you're still thinking about it, you're not alone. The machine is waiting, quietly, in the back of your mind. The next chapter is just ahead, and the question lingers. What is something truly worth living for, if not just pleasure? The paradox of value. Imagine your lips cracked, your tongue swollen, your body desperate for a single drop of water. Now imagine, just out of reach, a velvet pouch overflowing with diamonds, enough to buy a kingdom, but not a sip. This is the paradox that haunted Adam Smith in 1776. Water, the thing you need to live, is almost free. Diamonds, which do nothing for your thirst, are worth a fortune. It's called the paradox of value. The things that keep you alive, air, water, sunlight, are everywhere, so we treat them as worthless. The things that glitter, that can be locked away, become priceless. Value slips away from usefulness and lands somewhere stranger, in scarcity, in desire, in the stories we tell about what matters. It's like realizing the old sweater you wear every day is the only thing keeping you warm, while the designer jacket in your closet just hangs there, untouched, admired, but useless. Worth is not about what saves you. It's about what you think you can't have. Diamonds can't quench your thirst. But in the world we've built, they can buy almost anything, except the things you need most, when you need them most. Sometimes, the things that matter most are invisible until you're dying for them. The tragedy of history. You can almost feel the weight of centuries pressing down on your chest. Imagine standing on a hill at dusk, watching the ruins of an ancient city, columns toppled, stones cracked, weeds curling through the marble. Once, this place was alive with voices, ambition, and the certainty that it would last forever. Now, it's just dust and memory. And the strangest part is, If you wait long enough, the same story will play out again. Different names, different flags, but the same rise and fall. History is a wheel that never stops turning. Empires stretch out, hungry for more, then collapse under their own weight. Rome, the Mongols, the British Empire, each one believed it was the end point, the final word. Each one left behind the same broken promises. We like to think we're different, that we've learned from the past, but the record says otherwise. The same mistakes echo through the ages, like a song stuck on repeat. There's something almost cruel about it. You read about the fall of Constantinople, or the trenches of the First World War, and you want to scream at the page, "Don't you see what's coming?" But the people living through it never do. They're too busy with their own lives, their own certainties. Lessons are written in blood, but rarely read. Progress, the kind we dream about, is not a straight line. It's a loop, sometimes a spiral, sometimes a trap. It's easy to believe that time moves forward, that every generation is smarter, kinder, more advanced. But history is full of reminders that progress can stall, or even reverse. The Library of Alexandria burned, and with it, centuries of knowledge. The Black Death swept through Europe, erasing a third of the population. Civilizations that seemed unbreakable vanished almost overnight. There's no law that says tomorrow will be better than today. Think about it like cleaning your kitchen. You scrub the counters, organize the drawers, maybe even buy a fancy new appliance. For a while, everything feels fresh and under control. But then, slowly, the crumbs return. The sink fills with dishes. Someone leaves a sticky jar on the shelf. No matter how many times you tidy up, entropy sneaks back in. The mess is never gone for good. History works the same way. We build, we fix, we promise ourselves it'll be different this time. But the mess always finds a way back. Or picture a family argument that keeps resurfacing, year after year. Maybe it's about money, or who gets to host the holidays. Everyone swears they'll handle it better next time, but when the moment comes, the same words are said, the same wounds reopened. The cycle feels unbreakable, even when everyone knows how it ends. That's the tragedy of history, knowing the pattern, but being unable or unwilling to change it. There's a kind of comfort in believing that we're on a path, that things are always getting better. But the truth is more unsettling. Progress is fragile. It can be undone in a single generation or a single night. The lessons of the past are there, but they're easy to ignore when the present feels urgent. We are not immune to the mistakes of those who came before us. In fact, we are often their perfect echo. Sometimes, late at night, you might wonder if all of this effort, every law passed, every speech made, every hope for a better world, is just another turn of the wheel. Maybe that's why the ruins feel so heavy. They're not just reminders of what was lost, but warnings of what can be lost again. The tragedy of history isn't just that it repeats, it's that we keep thinking it won't. And as you lie there, listening, you might start to feel the slow, cold certainty that the cycle is still turning, right now, beneath your feet. The end of history. Close your eyes and imagine waking up in a world where nothing truly changes. The wars are over, the arguments settled, and every headline feels like a rerun. In 1992, Francis Fukuyama looked at the collapse of the Soviet Union and made a wild claim. History, as a struggle of big ideas, might be finished. Liberal democracy, he said, was the final stop on the train. No more revolutions, no more grand experiments, just endless variations on the same theme. It sounds peaceful, almost comforting, but then you notice the stillness, like walking into a party where the music has stopped, but everyone keeps dancing out of habit. The world keeps spinning, but the story feels stuck on repeat. Think of it like finishing a video game, only to find your character wandering the empty map, searching for a new quest that never comes. The thrill of possibility, replaced by a strange, quiet boredom. Of course, the real world didn't freeze. New crises, new conflicts, and new voices keep breaking through the silence. Fukuyama's end of history was less a finish line and more a mirage, an idea that dares you to wonder, what if the story never really ends? And what if the next chapter is already beginning, just out of sight? The tyranny of the majority. You're standing in a crowded room. Every face is turned toward you. You know what you believe, but as you open your mouth, you realize no one else agrees. The air feels thick. Your voice, suddenly, is the only one that sounds wrong. This is the nightmare Alexis de Tocqueville warned about in 1835. He called it the tyranny of the majority. It's the idea that democracy, for all its promises of freedom, can turn on those who don't fit the mold. When the crowd decides what is right, the lone dissenter can be crushed, not by a king, but by the will of the people themselves. We like to think of democracy as a shield against oppression. But Tocqueville saw something darker. In America, he watched as the majority's opinion became law, not just in government, but in the way people dressed, spoke, even thought. If you disagreed, you weren't just outvoted, you were outcast. The crowd didn't need chains or prisons. It had silence, ridicule, and the slow squeeze of social pressure. Think about the last time you were in a group chat, and everyone agreed on something you knew was wrong. Maybe it was a joke that went too far, or a plan that left someone out. You felt that little jolt in your stomach, the one that says, if I speak up, I'll be alone. That's the tyranny of the majority, right there in your pocket. It's not just about politics. It's about the way groups can make us betray our own sense of right and wrong, just to belong. Tocqueville's warning wasn't just for his own time. It's for every moment, when the crowd is loud and the individual is quiet. When the vote is unanimous, but the truth is complicated. When the rules are made for most, but not for all. Democracy's dark side isn't a dictator in a palace. It's the moment when the many decide the few don't matter. Imagine a school where every student votes on the lunch menu. If most want peanut butter sandwiches, the kid with the allergy goes hungry. The process is fair, but the outcome is cruel. The majority doesn't have to hate the minority. It just has to forget them. The real danger isn't that democracy fails. It's that it works too well. The crowd gets what it wants, and the outlier is left behind. The system that promises freedom can quietly erase the voices that need it most. So next time you find yourself in a room where everyone agrees, pause for a moment. Listen for the silence. Sometimes, the most dangerous thing isn't the power of one, but the comfort of many. The paradox of tolerance revisited. Imagine a city where every door is open, every voice is welcome, and every rule is up for debate. At first, it feels like freedom. No one is silenced. Nothing is forbidden. But then, a group arrives who demand the right to silence others. They want to burn books, ban neighbors, erase difference. The city, in its devotion to tolerance, lets them speak. It lets them organize. It lets them build walls inside the open city. You can feel the tension, can't you? The very thing that made the city free is now the weapon that will destroy it. Absolute freedom, left unchecked, becomes a trap. It's like leaving your front door unlocked in the name of hospitality, only to watch strangers carry your life away, piece by piece. At some point, you have to draw a line, not because you hate outsiders, but because you love what's inside. Societies that refuse to set boundaries end up with no society at all. Tolerance of intolerance is a slow form of self-erasure. Freedom, if it means anything, must include the courage to say, here, and no further. And if that makes you uneasy, good. The line between open and overrun is always moving, and nobody gets to stand outside it. The dark forest hypothesis. You are standing in a forest at midnight. The trees are so dense, the moonlight barely touches the ground. Every branch, every leaf, every shadow is holding its breath. You sense eyes watching, but you see nothing. The silence is not peaceful. It is the kind of silence that means something is hunting and everything else is hiding. This is the image Liu Cixin chose in 2008 in his novel The Three-Body Problem. He called it the dark forest. Not just a metaphor, but a warning about the universe itself. In Liu's story, every civilization is a hunter, armed and terrified, moving through the cosmic woods. The first rule is simple: never reveal your position. Because out there, in the dark, you do not know who is listening. And you do not know what they will do if they find you. The dark forest hypothesis is a way of explaining the great silence in the night sky. Why, with all our telescopes and radio dishes, have we never heard a single alien voice? Why does the universe, so vast and so old, feel so empty? The answer, according to Liu Cixin, is that the silence is not an accident. It is a strategy. Every civilization that survives learns to hide, because the alternative is extinction. Think about it like this. You are in your apartment late at night. You hear a noise in the hallway. You freeze. You do not call out. You do not turn on the lights. You wait, listening, hoping whoever is out there will pass by. You do not know if it is a neighbor or a stranger or something worse. So you stay quiet. In the dark forest, every window is a risk. Every sound is a signal. And the safest thing you can do is disappear. Now, scale that up. Imagine every planet, every star, every galaxy as a locked apartment in a building with no neighbors you trust. The universe is not a friendly place. It is a place where the first to speak may be the first to die. Because if you reveal yourself, you cannot know who is listening, or what they want, or how desperate they might be. Maybe they are peaceful. Maybe they are hungry. Maybe they are just afraid, and their fear is enough to destroy you. Liu Cixin's dark forest is not just science fiction. It is a reversal of everything we want to believe about the cosmos. We want to think of space as a frontier, a place for discovery and connection. But the dark forest says connection is dangerous. The safest civilizations are the ones you never hear from, the ones that learned to erase their footprints, to mask their signals, to become invisible, the ones that survived by never trusting anyone else. There is something deeply unsettling about this idea. It is not just that we might be alone, it is that we might not be alone. And that is even worse. Because if the universe is full of life, and all of it is hiding, then every silence is a warning. Every unanswered message is a threat. The quiet is not empty. It is crowded with fear. You can feel this in your own life too. Think about the times you have hidden a part of yourself, not out of shame, but out of caution. The secret you keep at work, the opinion you do not share at dinner, the part of your story you never tell anyone. Sometimes, silence is not just absence. It is armor. It is survival. The dark forest is not only out there, among the stars. It is here, in every room where someone is afraid to speak. So when you look up at the night sky and wonder why it is so quiet, remember the forest. Remember the silence that means everything is listening and nothing dares to move. In the dark, survival belongs to the invisible. And sometimes, the only way to stay alive is to never let anyone know you are there. The end of meaning. You are lying in bed, eyes open to the dark, and somewhere outside, the night sky stretches on forever. There is no voice in the stars, no secret message written in the pattern of galaxies. The universe does not care if you are happy or lost or even here at all. And yet, you search for meaning. You invent it, piece by piece, out of memories and hopes and the stories you tell yourself. Maybe you find it in a song, or a friend's laugh, or the way your heart beats a little faster when you see the sunrise. But deep down, you know it could all vanish. Meaning is slippery. It shifts with your mood, your age, the people you love or lose. It is as unstable as a dream you try to hold on to after waking. That uncertainty is the price of being alive. There is no final answer, no cosmic guarantee. But in the silence, you get to choose. You are the author, the reader, and the meaning itself. That is terrifying, and it is beautiful. So tonight, as you stare into the dark, remember, the universe is indifferent, but you are not. And that is enough.